Alright guys, this is Professor Ganymede, classes in session. We're going to talk about the recent changes that have been done to Zenyatta in the public test realm, what Blizzard's trying to do with them, and how they are faring at actually balancing this character. So, we're pretty late to the game. We're discussing the balance changes, but I want to go further than that. So let's just go over the balance changes. So this is in the public test realm. It's not live, but Zenyatta's base shield has been increased by 50. So now he has 200 health, 150 of that being shield. All right. His Aura Discord and Aura Harmony, their projectile speed has been increased. So now the orbs pretty much land as soon as you throw them, which is okay. All right. Transcendence movement speed was doubled. All right, and the healing amount increased from 200 to 300 health per second. Every one of these changes was amazing. Like, this is what Zenyatta needs. Now, he doesn't need every one of these changes. He doesn't need the movement speed on the Aura Discord or Aura Harmony. He can do his job perfectly fine without those. They're just kind of like extra bonuses. But the increase in health, the movement speed on his ultimate, and the healing amount is, it's take it or leave it. The movement speed on his ultimate and the increase in health, those are things he actually really needs, because he's just not viable. He cannot protect himself. There is no situation while he has 150 health in his current life state where I'd want to pick him over Lucio. Like in the public test realm now, I was testing him out and playing him on defense, because that's where he excels. On defense, why? Because less flankers can less easily get to him. On defense, usually the enemy team is resigned to this side, your team is resigned to that side, the other side, and the flankers have to travel further to get to you, which means there's a less chance that you'll die to them. You have more opportunity to protect yourself, to put yourself in a good position, right? And then you can do your job while you're protecting yourself. So with the 200 health buff, he's allowed to do his job more often. He's allowed to be within the line of sight of the enemy. He's allowed to be, within the line of sight of his allies more often, which is what he needs to do his job. Especially since he has no mobility, putting himself in the line of sight of the enemy is extremely dangerous, and he in live right now has no way to protect himself in that position. So 200 health is absolutely necessary. All right. As for the movement speed, that is absolutely necessary. Well, that's one way to fix the fact that his ultimate does not work with his kit. It is not synergized with his kit. The reason being is because he's a mid to backline hero. At least he has to be played that way, because he isn't strong enough to be played on the front lines, even though he is often fine, even though his ult places him on the front lines. So yeah, they increased the movement speed so it actually worked better. I think that's a really clunky way to actually change his ultimate, but that's one way. It worked. It worked. Now a recent change in the public test realm has been that they nerfed his base damage by 5. So now instead of 45 damage, Zenyatta now has 40 damage. Talk about taking a step backwards. Like, talk about taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Like, he needs that damage to protect himself. He needs it. He has to have that damage to protect himself from flankers or from anyone trying to kill him. He doesn't have CC. He doesn't have any kind of protection ability. He doesn't have a blink. He doesn't have any kind of movement. He doesn't have self-healing. He can't heal himself in combat. He can't Guardian Angel over to people like Mercy, right? He can't bounce around or be evasive. He can't knock people back, like Lucio. He can't put people to sleep like Ana. He can't heal himself during combat like Ana. He has no other way to protect himself besides this damage, and they're nerfing the one thing that he has to protect himself. This is gonna put him back in a state where he's still gonna pick 0 times in a recent tournament. I predicted and made a video months back predicting that Zenyatta would be garbage, that he would be picked the least amount of times. I was vindicated in a recent tournament when he was picked 0 times, not 1, twice. Out of hundreds of opportunities, the pros, the people who are best at the game, who are best at the characters in general, decided this person isn't worth protecting. This person isn't worth it. They're going to decide that again if you take away the one thing that allows them to protect themselves. That's the core problem with them. That's the core problem with him, is he can't protect himself, which means he can't do his job very reliably, and it's not worth protecting him when you can have a Mercy or a Lucio or eventually an Ana on your team. Well, why would you? Why would you want to go out of your way to constantly protect someone when they could be doing a lot of work on their own in the case of Lucio, Mercy, and Ana? So god damn it, that's a horrible change. And then they buffed his right click. They're like, yeah, we're gonna bring the damage of his left click down to 40, and bring the damage of his right click down up to 40. So people want to use it more. That does not help at all. It does not help. That is not the core problem with Zenyatta's right click. Zenyatta's right click is that is an unreliable way of the unreliable source of burst damage, not because of the amount of damage it does, but because of a number of factors. One, it takes too goddamn long to charge up. That right click, it takes too long. It takes him out of the fight. Because he's squishy, he has to drop out of line of sight. If I need to use my right click, I'll throw a Discord on somebody and then try to back out of line of sight as I charge that thing up. That's work I'm not doing. His right click is counterproductive to the job he needs to be doing. Also, the orbs, they fire off one at a time, and they take time to fire. So let's say you take the time to charge up your orbs to the 5 charge, right? Then you have to wait like a second and a half for all those things to fire, in which time people can just snipe your face or kill you, because now you're exposed for a second and a half, for a second longer than you would be exposed if you were just peeking corners and just left clicking, and while you're doing that with your left click, you're continuously doing your job. You're continuously keeping the enemy and your team in line of sight. You're just Discord, left click, left click, left click, left click. But with the freaking right click, you're like right click. I hope no one snipes me in the face while I'm firing this off. It makes you extremely vulnerable. Also counterproductive. And then there is another thing. So there's easy fixes to these problems. There is another big problem with the right click. He can't fire off Harmony and Discord or while he's charging that thing, which again is counterproductive. It means he's sacrificing the ability to do his job for a little bit of unreliable damage. Like it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad, and Blizzard just absolutely does not know what to do. And then they were talking about in Stir's stream about reducing his health to 175 to test that out. What the fuck are they doing? They have no idea how to balance this character, and I don't understand why not, because they're such a huge gaming company. It's so obvious. It's so easy to balance this character. Let me break it down for you. Keep his health at 200. He needs it. He needs it because he has no other way to protect himself. And it allows him to actually do his job reliably instead of his team needing to babysit him, which is why he wasn't picked in a recent tournament, which is why he was picked 0 times. Because his team didn't feel like babysitting him. They didn't feel like the benefit they gained out of babysitting was worth picking the character, which is what you're also going to do if you nerf his base damage. Keep him at 200. Keep him at 45. Close range damage. Give him long range damage fall off. Right? How easy is that? Give him long range damage fall off so he can't out-snipe the other DPS characters, but if you run up on him, then he can actually get some work done. And also, if you run up on him, he's obviously in a vulnerable position because he has no other way to protect himself. It's still a high-risk, high-reward situation. He still only has 200 health. He still has no CC. He still has no defense abilities. He still has no other way to protect himself besides the damage. Keep him at 45 damage, goddammit. And then, so give him long range damage fall off. I don't care about the orb speed. Whatever. If he's able to do damage reliably and have good health, then the orb speed is like, it's meh. I take it or leave it. I don't give a shit about that thing. Take that away. I don't care. Just give him the ability to do his job reliably. buff his right click to make it an actually an effective ability. Even I played, you know, Zenyatta. His right click is still shit, even after the changes to it, because the damage isn't the problem. It's that it is counterproductive to the job he needs to do. I mean, you know, make it so he can either fire his Harmony Orb and Discord Orb while he's charging it, or reduce the time it takes to charge that to full, charge it to 5 orbs, so you aren't out of the fight while you're waiting for that thing to charge for so long. Or I mean, there was another good one was, make it so all orbs fire as one orb or one big orb, instead of just waiting, you know, waiting a second and a half for all those things to fire, which puts you in a very vulnerable position, which is also counterproductive. There are a million ways. The thing about the right click was it was designed for a character who could throw his Harmony Orb and Discord on people and then forget about them. Right? He could afford to be out of combat because his Harmony Orb is doing work. It's off on some Genji, and that Genji is off halfway across the map doing things. His Discord Orb, you know, it stays on that person forever, so he can take the time to charge up a right click. But when they made it so those Harmony and Discord Orbs fall off after 3 seconds, they completely broke his right click. They made it so that now the right click just doesn't fit with that character anymore because he can't afford to be out of combat for so long because he needs to keep in line of sight for 3 seconds. He needs to be in the line of sight more often to do his job. So now you need to fix his right click to bring that. You know, you need to fix his right click in such a way that it takes that into account. Now he needs to be in line of sight more often, so make it so his right click synergizes with that kind of play style. So Blizzard just doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I don't understand why it's so hard, why they're having such a hard time. It's so easy to balance this character. Like, what? It's so easy. Like, how are they having such a hard time? You know what I think? I think what they're doing is they're focusing too much on trying to make Overwatch an esport, and then neglecting the experience of the general population when it comes to their characters. Zenyatta is a perfect example of that. They've had so much time to fix this character, to test out changes. I mean, just now, like a month into the game, they're like, they finally see the results of the tournament. They're like, oh, maybe we'll take a look at them. Welcome to the party. A little late there, buddy, but God damn it. So basically, I'm not going to be playing Zen until they show me that they actually care about balancing him, because they obviously don't care. I'm not going to be playing Zen. I'm a support main. If you haven't noticed by the rest of the content on my channel, I'm going to be playing Lucio. I'm going to be playing Ana, and I might even learn Mercy. Maybe. Probably not, though. It doesn't seem like they're going in the right direction with Mercy. But I definitely will be picking up Ana, because it seemed like from the get-go, she's designed right. So they could definitely mess it up, because they've shown that they have an extraordinary ability to make really bad decisions. So hopefully they don't screw up Ana too bad. If they do, I'll just go back to playing Lucio, because Lucio's the best. So I have no faith in their ability to fix Zenyatta. They can, but there's a high chance that they also will mess it up. Because they just don't care enough, clearly. Because they're smarter than this. They're not this dumb. It's not this hard. It's not this hard to balance Zenyatta. They're smarter than this. The only rational explanation for them having a hard time fixing Zenyatta is they simply don't care. All right, I had to get that off my chest. I can't stand how they're neglecting their player base and how they're neglecting Zenyatta and the support players. I'm a support player, so I care a lot about this stuff. So I think that's everything I need to say. So this has been ProfessorGanymede. Thanks for watching. Class dismissed.